Good morning, people. Good morning. Good morning. This is Spirit Journey, and what a beautiful moment in time. Yes, it was raining a moment ago, but now the sun is coming up. So beautiful when I see the sun come up. Yes, today, actually, wow. Today is October 30th, 2025. And the time is now 6:33 a.m. in the morning. And yes, you're looking through the window. Yeah, I like looking through the window. Yeah, this is in my bedroom, the master bedroom. And when I first moved into this place here in Rwanda, I kind of had an aversion to this room because it was a little bit too big for me. The space seemed really open, really big, and it made me feel vulnerable. And then I would say maybe a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago, I said, I haven't been upstairs in this room. Let me go back in the room. This is the main room in the house. Let me go in. And I started liking it. I started liking it because oh, big part. I opened the curtains. Yeah, the curtains were usually closed. I said, let me open up the curtains. And that's when I really started to enjoy it. And I even like falling asleep with the curtains open. Uh, it just um, it's just something that I like about seeing outside. And so, what is today's video about? I wanted to, I want to, I will be talking about and questioning about life, about, you know, about what is paradise? What is paradise in a place like Rwanda, where I live? I'm from New York City, and it would be, let's see, about 20. Let's see, um, I came back here 20. What's that? Oh gosh, how could I forget? 2024, January 2024. And so let's see, how it go? Well, so it'd be like 22 months that I've been here consecutively. Um, but I initially arrived in December of 2023. So it depends on how you want to start it. But it's consecutively about 22 months. And, people would look like, if you didn't know where I was, and you just see the trees and everything, the hills, you would probably think you're in the tropics. An island, I should say, a tropical island. And in a place like America, the um, the colder regions of America, and we ask about oftentimes like in the commercials on television growing up, we have all these commercials about go on a vacation to paradise. And you have people who spend a lot of money for like in America, the vacation time might be 2 months. I mean, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. I was with 2 months, 2 week vacation. And they'll spend all this money to live in paradise. And they equate paradise with the tropics. And I think part of that is in the Bible. And they say about talk about paradise, you know, Adam and Eve lived in a place that was a paradise, and being that they didn't allegedly they didn't have any clothes on, so it had to be probably a warm place, right? And it was about agriculture. They had to work the land, but they would say, life would say in America, this is paradise. Well, when I woke up this morning, I was listening to a program. I had put in a search for OBE, out of body experience. And oftentimes that might equate with also um, near death experiences. But either way, that discussion was on. And the last person that was talking was a young man in his prime, um, white fellow, uh, be considered good looking, healthy, had muscles. And he was talking about his experience. He was raised in a Christian environment. He was into his religion, but he started facing a crisis. Yeah, I think he was he worked in the church also. Okay, oh wait a minute, a plane is coming. Let me hold a moment. Yeah, not gonna compete with that plane when it comes. But he was facing a crisis. Yeah, he worked as a I think praise and worship pastor. And initially it was for him, he enjoyed praise and worship. And then he left it all and he lost a lot of his friends. And he kind of like redeveloped himself. He moved away to what they call the Bay Area. It's some area in California, very trendy. And he becomes like a fitness coach. He had an Instagram account, and he worked as a fitness model, so he had photos of himself and created the illusion of wellness. But then again, he was faced with another crisis, and that's what I was really listening to. And um, he was trying to find it for himself, and I think that's really profound because I know about trying to find happiness, and in America, um, I mean, I was never hungry, when I lived with my family back home in America in New York. I never faced hunger or anything like that. Um, but life was not perfect for me. There were challenges at home and challenges at work, and trying to find out, where to really find um, safety and peace. I didn't feel safe. And especially when I left New York in late 2023, I left on December 2, 2023. And here now it's October 30th, 2025. And yeah, I felt I was in a crisis. I felt like I was at a stillness also, like life was just stuck. I wasn't moving anywhere. And there was a lot of violence happening in New York City. I lived in the middle of everything in Manhattan. I lived right near Times Square, Hell's Kitchen area, all the amenities you would want. I had all that. But it was a lot of violence. that was really escalating. And it just got worse and worse over the years. And when they tried to steal my little dog, and it's my surviving dog, Lavender, my Pekingese. Yeah, everybody loved Lavender. But here, the guy wanted Lavender because he learned that was the younger of the three dogs I had at the time. Yeah, he said that thief, he, um, he was trying to be clever. And I didn't trust him from the get-go. And he was asking me questions. I said, "Oh, you don't have a dog at home? I have a poodle at home." He was trying to convince me of something, but something in my gut said, "This guy, he was men are into tiny dogs, small dogs. I had three dogs in a stroller, all zippered in. They were all secured inside the little stroller." And because he had squatted all the way down the guy. "Oh, I have a dog at home. Oh, oh, which one's the oldest? Oh, which one's the youngest?" What the hell? Why is asking me? And then I told him, and that's when he tried to tear open the stroller and grab my little boy. And I said, "What do you think you're doing?" Yeah, sometimes you got to challenge them back. Even, I was scared. I was scared, like, you know, but it was enough to deter him. And that saved Lavender. And I reported it to the police. Yeah. But ironically, it was Lavender. And ironically, upon arriving here, my two baby girls had passed away within 33 days of coming here. And my little boy was the surviving dog. And yeah, his health isn't the best. But either way, he's sitting right, lying down right in front of the foot of the bed. But either way, uh, wouldn't it have been something if he was the one that passed away upon arriving? And all this, basically, I moved because they tried to steal him. But life is something though. But either way. Um, so I thought I could escape a lot of things when I left America. And it was the first time I was here ever to step foot in Rwanda when I arrived. I felt I did my homework. Um, I think overall, with all what transpired, I think it was the best move at the time. But not, listen to the program, uh, the YouTube video I was just listening to. Because you look at the guy that's talking, he come, people would say, "Hey, he's a nice, he's a middle class guy, lived in a nice area, and he was making a lot of money, money off of, the type of work." And when you're in that line of work, or a fitness model, you get connections and all that, So on the surface, he was living a good life, but he wasn't happy, and he was facing loneliness, trying to find meaning. And I too know about that, trying to find meaning in life. But the thought of the question, we hear the little bird. Yeah, I like hearing the birds sing in the morning, if you could hear in the background. But I asked myself, um, looking out the window, happiness in paradise. And this has to be paradise because, you have the tropical plants and everything around my window. It's sunny a lot of times. Yeah, we had this now is the rainy season. Boy, it was raining all day yesterday. All day, and it broke. the rain around 5 p.m. And by 6 o'clock, it's uh, black outside, you know. But it's raining again. But we need the rain. You like greenness, like myself. Oh, I love it green and lush. Well, you need rain. See, that's an awareness now. If to have greenness, you have to have rain. If you don't have rain, you're gonna have brown trees. So it's ironic. In order to get what you want, you got to get what you don't want. That's just an awareness that popped in my head. Yeah, you want green and lush, well, you have to want the rain too. The two come with each other. But anyway, yeah. So it's as always. When I do these live streams, a lot of times it's I'm thinking out my question, awareness. We wake up and we may have questions, and I'm questioning about paradise. What is paradise? So here you have a young man in America. He has had his religion, and then he's seeking spirituality. He has food. He has money for who knows what type of supplements he might be taking to beef up his body. To have all those muscles. And I used to live in other tropics. I used to live in Hawaii. I lived in the Caribbean. See, I just, those other two times, the Caribbean and Hawaii, it was strictly business, strictly business. I had to look for work. And each of those two times, the crisis that I was in, it was winter time, and it's hard to look for work. Yes, good morning, viewer. Good morning to you. Um, Looking for work for me, the line of work I was doing, my hands have to stay warm, and I cannot look for work. And you have to be tested, like I did office work also. So my hands had to stay warm and limber to be able to take the typing test. Um, so I felt for myself, I had to look for a warm environment for me to look for work. But now, coming down here, I was in a retirement, so I wasn't working. But I wanted something. Yeah, the weather here is moderate actually. It's pretty good. The mornings and the evenings is nice and cool and breezy. You'll love it's really nice. And then when the sun really comes up by like 8:30, 9 in the morning to like 3 o'clock, it is hot. For me, it's hot because there's no real shade when you're walking. They don't have the tall buildings here like back in New York, because the tall buildings would give you shade. But here you're just out in the open to the elements, so things just seem more intense. But either way, I was questioning myself, what is paradise in a place like Rwanda? What is it? Because was it about 2 days ago? About 2 or 3 days ago, I had gone outside and I had to do some shopping. Oh, and I got up early, and I did that video with Lavender in the shopping cart. Yeah, back in the day in New York. Remember, I started out with the red shopping cart, and I had all three dogs, and they all sit perfectly in alignment. It was the perfect width, and they all were glued looking forward. Do you remember that? So now I just have my little boy, and I had put him in this stroller, and he was like bumping, going back and because he didn't, it was too wide. It was, he had a lot of free room. And so the movement of the stroller made it unstable for him inside because of the movement and the pavement being uneven. So I said, next time we go out here, I'm gonna put the sides like with stuff, to stuff the sides with something so he can sit, you know, without being juggled, you know, from side to side. So I put two pillows in, and that's what you saw the other day, my last video with him, and he's sitting snug inside, and we had our little journey. And while I was doing that, it was a live stream. And some of you who might have been listening saw that, I should say, heard someone say, "Give me money." Yeah, because I was walking and there were three gentlemen, and they were laborers. Um, Rwanda is an agricultural place. And, the people that you would see early morning would be the laborers, the people who would be maybe sweeping the streets or going to work on the field. When the sun comes up, you are up in a place like, place in Africa. You take advantage of the light, the sunlight. So when the sun comes up, you're up and you are working. So you'll see the people like let's say uh, the the maids and things like that. The people who work inside somebody's house. You'll see them up early, washing the car, things like that, or sweeping around the house. You'll see them up and at it. So I'm sorry, my nose is a little runny. So so when I was walking with during my last video, I think it was. Some of you might have heard when I was walking past, because I did say hello. Yeah, there were other people across the street from me, and they were looking me with the shopping cart, and I had it partially covered, like so you couldn't see the dog. You only could see the dog if you're looking straight on in front of the um, shopping cart, and they saw that it was a little, little dog. And as I was passing the guys, one of the three young men, and they looked real strong too. They were short. They don't they're not that tall here in this part of this part of Africa. Many of the people aren't that tall in this part of Africa, I should say. The bulk of the people are relatively short, but you do have some tall ones. But as I was about to pass them, one of them says, "Give me money." And I just walked and said, "Sorry, sorry, no, and I kept on going. And that's what sparked me to do this live stream, okay? That man's response. Now, a lot of times when they say it, and they all seem to say it the same way, like a demand, "Give me money." They could be old or young and everything in between. And these all seem to say it the same way. I've never once in America, even when even when I didn't have a job, I've never gone up to a stranger and say, "Give me money." So it kind of shocks me each time when I hear it like that. And it bothers me when you say, "Gimme, gimme." And you start to wonder, who was the very first person who asked that question? And why you ask like that? Why don't you say, "Excuse me, could you give me some money, please?" And it throws me. Because when I hear it like a curse word, and I don't like it. But either way, this man and many people like him would see somebody and they assume you have something. And was the man in need before he saw me? Now he's a laborer. You saw He had his tools, his hoe, and the other tools to work the land. And so either he's coming, he's going to a place to work, labor, but he sees me like many people may see me walk by, and they look like they're on their way to do something. But because they see me, they want the opportunity to say what they say. So my question is further, why does he have a need? Why does he feel a need to say to me, give me money? Now, I'm not trying to act stupid. I'm not, we all know why he's asking. On the surface, you know why he's asking. And the assumption is he doesn't have. The assumption is that he's hungry. The assumption is that he's on his last leg and he just, But that's not usually the situation, really, you know. Um, but they feel that they have to ask. And I said, well, how could he have a need? Because this is paradise. That's my question. I know it took me 26 minutes to get to that point, but this is supposed to be paradise, people. Just look out the window. You see the tropical trees, right? There was sunshine just a moment ago. So, how come you have people who live in paradise, or what Americans or Westerners would say paradise, and the proof that it's green and it's tropical? You have people who are saying and demanding money. And I'm surprised. I say, hey, people in the West would love to be in a situation that looks like this. It's nice and green. I live in a house with a garden, and I'm all safe and sound. I have relatively good health. I'm in my right mind. And isn't this paradise? And in paradise, you don't have a need or a want because you're in paradise. Well, people, I used to live in Hawaii, in the island of Maui, and you have a lot of homeless people in Maui. But they treat homelessness a little different in Hawaii. They don't judge you the same way how they would like judge you in other places. It's everybody's hang loose. The mode of dress is, or the style of dress is flip flops, shorts, and a t-shirt. Okay, that's basic everybody. So rich or poor, you kind of all look the same. And you have people who live on the beach, and but you don't really hear give me money, give me money. Oh, they'll steal from you, and they'll go in your refrigerator. If you have a roommate, they'll go in the refrigerator and they'll steal your food from you. That's what happened to me in Hawaii. Yeah, yeah, I was the new one in the house. I had rented a room in the house. I was only female at the time in that house, and then later on, we had someone who rented the little. It's a garage made into a house, and she moved in there. Um, but yeah, I lived with people who are opportunists. They were white, and someone was stealing from my food, and they had the what do they have? Yeah, some of them. Yeah, oh, we did get another new person in the house. Um, oh no, no, he was there. He was there already, and his family came to visit him. He was a young kid. He was about 21 years old, and his family, I guess his sister and mom came to visit, and yeah, he was a thief. Uh, oh, I boogies. Okay, okay, just came on. Yeah. So what happened? Yeah. This person tried to steal from me. He tried to sneak in my room, and he didn't know I was in my room. He's, oh, I'm sorry. I went in the wrong room. I'm sorry. You know, his room was right next to my room. And I felt suspicious. And then I got up and walked out the room. And then he follows and says, oh, hey, could you give me some money? So that's when I realized this guy was going to rob me and he was sneaking in my room. And as a pretense, oh, I'm sorry, I accidentally opened the wrong door. Okay. So he's a young, healthy guy. Yeah, he did drugs too. He was doing drugs. Yeah, like you had a lot of people. See, what's weird, poverty in America, it's a little it looks a little different. You could be dressed, you know, regular, and you can be a thief. And he was doing drugs, and but everybody liked him. Actually, he had a lot of friends. Very popular. Uh, so going back to here. So here I live in Rwanda. Rwanda, I like the people here. Let me get that straight. I like the people here. And this video is not about making fun of people. It's not about making fun of any Rwandan or any African or any black person. No, no, no. It's not about that. It's about questioning. I come from the West. I come from New York City. And I came to a place where you have a lot of people who are willing to add, add see, I have to use these words carefully, use a weapon to rob you. And they will unalive you where I come from if they perceive that you have something, and they would take it by force. And I remember someone try to attack me in the subway. Yeah, a young guy. He was either late teens, early 20s, and he was in the subway by the token booth. And something said, he looks like he wants to wait for a victim to come up and attack them. And I said, oh, well, yeah. And the train had just come and people were coming up. And I said, oh, if I can race it, I can make it and be safe. Well, that's not what happened. I foolishly thought I could make it and run, you know, get down there stairs because I was racing to see my mother who lived in another town, and I needed to take the subway to her home, subway and a bus. And as I started to go down the stairs, he came after me. And lo and behold, and I thank the Creator. Because as I was going downstairs, you know, some people when they're leaving the train, you know, take their time. Maybe he was busy, but there was a what I call a straggler, someone who was coming up the stairs. I was going down. It was another male, young male, and then the attacker behind me was racing down the stairs. He was maybe 1 foot away from me, and so if he would have grabbed me at that time, and then the guy below me, he was like one stair, you know, one step away from me, we were all would have fallen down the stairs. And when the attacker saw that, he turns around real quick and runs upstairs. Wow. So the attacker, was wearing regular clothes. He was clean. His hair was combed. So why did he have it? Why did he want to attack me? Because he wanted to rob me. He was a thief. And you have people who thief for a living, attackers, uh, and and look at how he's dressed. What's the problem? Um, why do people do this in a place like America? I mean, I'm not trying to sound stupid. I'm just saying these things for thought's sake. Because you don't, because it's not, he's not skin and bones and, uh, wearing rags and dirty. No, he was dressed like everybody else that you would see in his age group. He can easily go to a cafe and get a latte. But what's the problem? And in America, we have what's called welfare. And so if you're hungry, and if you're really poverty, you get food stamps and welfare, and the government will pay for you. I kid you not. It's available, especially you have children, little kid, yeah, little kids. You got food, free medical for them. That's why all these illegal people were coming in America to get free rent, free food, free medical, free everything. But I asked myself after the event, I mean, I was scared. Yeah, eventually I do get to my mom's place and I was safe. But it was increasingly getting more and more dangerous just to do basic things in New York City where I come from. And I decided to move and think the doors open up, in 2023, but I was going to leave in 2022. But things financially was not available for me at that time in 2022. And then a year later, things opened up financially and I was able to leave. So what happened? So I'm just trying to analyze. In America, you have thieves and the beggars in New York City. They have like a sign written on a cardboard, a piece of cardboard. Uh, Please give me money. Oh, please give me food, or something like that. They write it. Have a cardboard. But here you never see people like on a corner with a sign that, no, you don't have that. I've never seen it actually, never here. Uh, People aren't like sitting on corners, no. They're either going to or from a place. Um, that's here. So if they're going to some place, I still ask myself, why when you saw me, you're going to whatever, you're doing whatever what you have to do, but they see me and they feel a need, some of them. And some of them could be young women, young teenage girls that look like they're gonna do some shopping, whatever. And they'll see me and get all excited. Give me money. Give me money. And again, I thought this was paradise. You could see the proof that this is paradise because you could see the trees, right? These are tropical trees. And I was taught that paradise and happiness was about a lavender. Away from there. Lavender. Let me get my doggy. See, I'm afraid that he might knock over something. Hold on. Hold on. I'm sorry, I have to turn this around. I'll come right back. I just want to get him. Come on, Lavin. I don't want you. Okay. 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 Yeah, I had to move something, people. Yeah, I didn't want something, you know, because something was about to happen and I didn't want something to fall on him. So you see him walking, see that? Sorry about that. Yeah, you got to protect what you love. Yep. You love something, you protect it. So I love my little boy, and I was trying to protect him there. I was afraid something's going to fall on him. Okay, sorry about that. So again, I thought this was supposed to be paradise, and someone said, "Give me money." So what is going on, and what is paradise? What is paradise to Rwandans? What is paradise? What is paradise for Africans in general, or Asian people, or Latin America? What is paradise to these people? Because many of these places, it's the tropics. And even in the tropics, there are people who feel that they feel they have a need to ask you or demand you to give them something. And I am confused. I am confused because life taught me that when you're in paradise, that you have everything. But you have people who are born and raised here in paradise who are demanding you to give them something. They perceive you to have something. They believe you have something that they want. What is it that they want? Well, they're saying money. Let's say um, I go on a street corner, I get a table and a chair. I mean, a table and a chair. I go in a corner somewhere, in the street, and then I have a sign that says, "Do you want money?" And what do you need it for? You know, what would they say? What would they say if you say, ask them, "Oh, you asked for money. What do you need money for?" Or if you ask them, "Before you saw me, how were you going to get money? Before you saw me, how are you going to get money for that day? You feel you have a need." And these are my questions. People are asking in paradise. See, I could relate to a person who's filthy and dirty and bony because they haven't had a meal in a week. I could understand that. I'm not going to answer a dumb question like that. You know, you see, some people have an immediate need. There might be a drought and they can't grow the crops and they're hungry. I am not talking about that. This is a very important question I'm asking. I'm not trying to play games. I'm really trying to search out what is paradise when you live in what is considered paradise in the industrialized nations. Because they taught me that this is paradise. Yet you have people who aren't living how they say you're supposed to be in paradise. You're supposed to be happy in paradise. And sometimes when people see me, and it triggers them, it triggers some of the people that live here enough for them to approach me and say, "Give me money." So, and I've talked about this, about how I never get used to hearing it. I never get used to hearing the type of people who approach me. Sometimes they say it as I'm like, "Are you like they, they say it, but like, are they just saying it to hear themselves talk, or that they really are asking me, or telling me, 'Give me money'? What is it? What are they going to use the money for? If I give them money, will it solve the problem that they may feel they have? Will it satisfy that need? If I give them a day's wage, let's say I give them a day's wage, what are they going to do the next day? And if they don't see me, what are they going to do? And it's this question that has me asking myself, what is paradise? When do I know that I have it all? When do I know? I have food, I have shelter. And then, again, this is the tropics, and this is an agricultural uh, land. This is an agricultural society. People are growing. That's the main industry, the agriculture. And I remember I was talking to someone, and they said they had a hoe in their hand, to till the soil, and that when I said the person was asking for money as a farmer, and the person I was talking to said, "How could that?" He said, "That's ironic. How could someone who's a farmer be hungry?" These are questions, people. How and that is a very profound question. How could someone who is a farmer, someone who knows how to till the land, then say that they're hungry or that they need money? If you have food, basically you have. I mean, don't you have everything when you have food, right? And these are some of the questions that you may ask yourself. Because, see, if these same people, if these same people, let's say these same people go to a place like America, are these the same type of people who would then ask you in the street, give me money? Or are they the same type of people who would say something like that? That even in a place of abundance like New York City, there's food everywhere in New York. They throw it out every day. There's abundant food, but people who claim they don't have enough food for their children. And I ask these questions. How do I know when I have paradise? And like the person in the video that prompted this live stream, this American fellow living in the Bay Area, and he was a middle class white dude, and he was a praise and worship pastor, and then he had a crisis, and the crisis was that he wanted more in life. He wanted, he loved praise and worship, but something spiritually was happening to him, and he was in lack. Now he had money, he had a job. He quit his job, but he sold everything. He sold everything. So what's going on, people? What's going on? Why, why the need? He had a need, and he came from the West. This man came from the West, and he had a need. He had food, shelter, muscles, nice clothes, Instagram account, but he was in a crisis. So he wasn't asking for money, but he was asking himself, hey, what is life all about? And I think this is what's actually happening here in this part of the world that I live in. I'm just going to pick up something on the floor. Just take me a moment. Just a moment. Just take a moment. Okay. Sorry, I had to take care of a matter there. Yeah, when you have a dog, things could happen. Okay. Okay, here. So, these are important questions, people. And again, I'm not trying to make fun of anybody here. Because I too am asking myself questions. It seems like you have different types of people and they ask different types of questions. And so here, this man from America had everything going for him, and he was in a crisis. His wasn't about food or money, but it was spiritual. And he didn't understand what life was all about. He didn't know, his energy was being just diluted. It was being spurred out. It wasn't like a laser focus anymore. Once he had and the initial things said, because he came from a religious background, and he had an ideal everything, and so he's on a spiritual journey. So here, in a place like Rwanda, you're in paradise. Some people call this paradise, but even in things like paradise, you have people who are in a crisis, and you have people, individuals, when they see what they don't have. When let's say someone has a new pair of shoes and they want what you have. They didn't want it before. Now I can see someone with who have no shoes, who walks around barefooted and their feet might be hurting. I can understand someone like that who may want some shoes. But someone who already has shoes on their feet and they see what you have and they like it, and it seems like in certain places around the world, they would ask you um, for that item. Okay, it's another plane coming. Hold it. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't complete with the planes that go over your head. But I ask myself, you know, it's the same thing, people. It is the same thing. In America, you have people, the land of plenty, and they're willing to unalive you to have what they think you have. They jump people. They steal their shoes off their sneakers off their feet. They steal things in America. They don't really steal food. They steal things because America is about materialism. But when you go in the third world or a developing country, now you have people, they may not have a lot of things either, but they 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 are taught to ask you for money. They see something in you. And I was just walking my dog. And this was the second day I had the stroller that you saw that I had. Because he's not a, he's his my dog's walking ability is getting compromised. His health is deteriorating. And I want to go out and get a good exercise, and I want my little boy to get some air. But here I'm walking, and it seems like it doesn't matter what I wear. I could wear African cloth, clothing, Kentinge cloth, or we call it African style clothing. Or, again, most of the people here wear Western clothes. They wear a shirt and slacks, pair of pants. And so it's not like, they I stand out. They're not dumb people at all. They know I'm an outsider. Okay? They know that. People know people. People know uh, who are social economic. You pretty much could see, and they're asking, what about these people here? What you ask the question. Okay, you come and you walk up to me and you ask, give me money. What are you going to do with that money? And will it solve your problem the next time you see someone that looks like me? What are you going to do? Again, this is supposed to be paradise. Again, those are tropical trees, right? These are all tropical trees. And they say in America and in the West that paradise is in the tropics. That paradise is supposed to make you happy. And you have people who are born and raised in the tropics who are in need, or they feel they are in need or in want when they see people that look like myself. And will it solve their problem? Or let's say you live again in an industrialized nation like that man that I talked about earlier in this live stream, who had everything, middle class white dude, and he was in a want. But the want was something non materialistic. So it seems to me that uh, outside of the obvious, you don't have a food for a week, honey, you're going to be hungry. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people like who I'm seeing. You don't see an obvious need of want, of need. You don't see an obvious need. We have wants. And a lot of people are not willing to work for what they want. They're not willing to work for it. They do a shoddy job at work, but then they want money. They don't want to work for the money. They don't want to do a good job. And they actually hurt themselves to the ability to get future money. You do a poor job at work, you can get fired and you have no money. If you have a want, you have to be willing to work for it. And you have many people who are not willing to work for what they want. Even in a place like the tropics. I know what it's like to want. Sometimes like you walk, back in New York, and you say, oh, that looks nice. Oh, I would like that. Things like that. Yeah, there is a wanting culture in America. Everybody wants. Everybody wants a vacation. Like they have these commercials. Oh, go to this place or that place. Everybody wants these electronics. Everybody wants these bling bling. But when you're in the tropics, and this is supposed to be the type of place where everybody wants to be in a warm place, right? And you still have people who have a need. And I'm trying to ask myself, what is it that I'm looking for? I I I like a lot of things about this country. I like the people actually here. I do. I like I like them. But I too am seeking. And I'm not sure what I'm seeking. I have food, and when I have to do shopping, that could be a challenge. It could be a challenge going to the market because it could be very hectic. Okay. But It's more of a spiritual problem that I'm having, more emotional, spiritual. Um, I worry about my dog that you just saw. You know, his health is compromised. And so I'm sad. And I was asking myself, I said, I like it here, but I'm not sure whether I want to stay either. You know, um, so for me, it's not so much money, 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 or things, 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 but more something more internal. Yet I'm living in paradise. They told me that this is paradise, and yet sometimes emotionally I feel a lack, and I want to try to find out what it is that I really want and to fulfill it. What could fulfill my need? It's not really money, but yes, money does make things easier to obtain material goods or services. But once you get those material goods and services done, it can creep back that desire, that need, not need, that want. And that's what I'm trying to discover for myself. It's all of us on some level. On some level, we all are searching, even in paradise. What is paradise? And I think the answer really is you have to decide it for yourself. You have to decide for yourself. You have to define for yourself. No one could define it for you. That's why a lot of people go to these gurus and stuff like that because they're trying to find an answer in somebody else who's supposedly know what is fulfillment. And you have to decide for yourself. No guru can tell me, and that's the illusion. Because the illusion is you think that other person has all the answers and that they're living in bliss. Uh, I guess for my situation, to be able to say to yourself um, that 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 to be at peace, that no matter what you have, besides the obvious, if you don't have money for food, the basic food, you know, um, to be content with yourself, be in content, and to enjoy the now, enjoy the now. And I'm to not be intimidated when I perceive someone having more. Let's say someone has a real fancy Rolex watch or fancy shoes, you know? Is that what you need? If it's not a need, don't even focus on it. But I think this is the trap when you're on this planet, that it can trigger emotions of need or want. And if you define for yourself that certain thing to make you feel content. And so this could be a daily thing that every day you say, what I do have. You see little birdies out there. I like seeing the little birdies. And I do like to see the green trees. I do. Be content with what you have. Be content with yourself, of who you are. I used to think if I was a different race, that life would be better. Or if I was a different nationality, or if I spoke a foreign language. See, I wasn't accepting myself. You need to accept yourself. Accept what you have. Accept you. I say some other things. I notice like if I have order around me, like if I live in a clean place, I notice like after I do try to clean up, mop the floor, kind of tidy up a room, I actually feel better. And I think it's about energy. Okay, another plane is coming. Hold on. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think that yeah, when you're content with yourself, you kind of like enjoy the now and you enjoy the moment. Enjoy you. If you don't have an obvious need like your hunger, you haven't eaten in a week, I'm not talking about that, people. An everyday situation. Yeah, we go through life and we get tested and tempted by the visuals that we see, and it deceives us. Oh, let's say it's a boyfriend or a girlfriend. You can see people like in America, like they like to hold hands in America and walk as a couple and things like that. And you might have someone who's single, and they say, if I have somebody, I won't feel empty and lonely. Again, that is a need, that could be a need for some people, right? And you get angry, or sometimes you get angry when you see someone with someone because you say, they have and I don't, and you're not happy for that person. I think for one thing, for happiness, be happy for other people. Be happy that that person has food on the table. Be happy for that person who has a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a husband or a wife. Be happy if someone has children. Hey, they got children. God bless them. That's nice. It's okay for others to have. But the trick and the real enemy is when you feel a lack. It is a horrible feeling. Yeah, I would like to get at a point where I don't feel a lack. You always remember I was going to say about cleaning up. I find like, okay, maybe it's something energetically, well, money is an energy too. But like, I find like after like I sweep my floor, let's say I mop it or tidy up the room, it makes me feel more whole. And the law of the energy, law of conservation and energy, that um, energy is, is from high energy to low energy. Things naturally break down. Things naturally break down. Like your bank account. Your bank account could break down. You know what I mean? When you're spending more than you make and you have less and less in the bank. Well, everything's kind of tied in. I'm getting to something, people. Everything's tied together. Whether you like if I don't clean this patio out there, it get dirtier and dirtier. And you need to sweep it up, you need to mop it. And if I start looking at a dirty floor and it gets dirtier and dirtier, it gets me depressed. It does. Like I have to clean the floor in this room. Yeah, it's very dusty outside. You have the streets. The streets are dirt roads mostly, and that dust comes in your house. And if you don't clean up your place, I mean, I know this sounds boring. I know it sounds boring, people, what I'm saying, but I'm getting to something. Whether it's a dirty floor, dirty kitchen, you have to keep it up. You have to clean it. Let's say you got a tree outside. You got a tree outside. Did you know you have to prune your trees? You have to cut your grass. It's always something daily. It's always something. And the same thing with what's in your pocket, your money. You got to replenish your money. So maybe you have in a bank account drawing interest, or maybe you get a job and you save up your little money. But when you spend more than what you have, you can't maintain your life. It becomes more difficult because you're breaking a law, you're breaking a principle. Do not spend more than you have. Or your house, you know, the cleaning. It's just the opposite, You're getting more and more on the floor. You're getting more and more dirt on the curtains. You're getting more and more dirt on the window. So you got to clean that up. So it's about shifting stuff. And once it's a daily thing. It's always going to be something daily, but it gives you a sense of relief once it's done. And to be content with what you have, have order in your life, have balance, even like on a scale, with the balance, it's going to titter totter to the left or the right, and I guess we just have to adjust ourselves. And don't be deceived with people you know who perceive to have more. They may not have more. Yeah, I can go and walk in a so-called luxurious neighborhood, right? And you have the big house. They might have a big car, big trees, but they may not have money in their pocket. I'm not a rich person either. I am not a rich person. I'm not. And people are assuming. So you can have things. Back in America, I had a lot of things. In America, you can get a lot of things. And if you take care of it, it piles up after a while. I had to give away a lot of stuff. I at one time had so much stuff. And, you know, after a while, you have to get rid of it because it just piles up and it's not healthy. It's not healthy when you have clutter. I didn't want to live a clutter-full life. I like nice things. I like things that last. And I was taught, this is what I was taught, and it seems to work for me. Whatever what you get, take care of it. Take care of the things that you love. Take care of it. You have a car, okay, take care of it. Now we know in America, there are people that are in love with their cars. They love their cars better than their spouse. but no, but not to get into extremism, but those things that you have in your life, or let's say your clothing, your clothes. Take care of your clothes. What clothes you have? You have shoes. Take care of your shoes. And I find that, growing up, I was able to save a lot of things because I took care of them. And I noticed the people who always are in want are the ones that don't take care of what they have. They do not take care of what they have. So even what little they have, they don't even take care of what little they have. And that's a problem. They don't respect what they have because they don't feel that it's of value. And they always think what someone else has is of value. What you value is what you protect and what you take care of. Do you value yourself? I didn't value myself growing up. I lived in a society, they said that I wasn't worth anything. They didn't value me because of my skin color or that I have African hair. I wasn't valued. I wasn't valued because, what? I didn't have trendy, those bling bling. I wasn't valued. But I value myself now. I say, I have to love myself. And it's okay to fix yourself, comb your hair, you take a shower, fix yourself just like I have to clean the floor. I've seen places here and people, there are people here that don't value what they have. They don't. You see where they live. They have a little land, but they don't work their land. They live like they're in poverty. And they teach their kids that they're in poverty. And they teach them to go out and look at someone who they perceive to have what they don't have. And you know, the secret is it's inside of them. They have everything. It's like a seed. Life is like a seed. Everybody is a seed. You have big seeds, you have little seeds, and it can grow into a big tree. What grows on some trees but fruit? All the potential is inside that seed and it's inside yourself. These people that live in certain areas, now this is an agricultural country, and they don't know how to garden, and they're not growing food on their property. They're not cleaning up, you know what I'm saying? But they're the first ones to run up to you and say, give me money. All the potential is inside of you, people. You are that seed. You are that seed. And everything you want is inside of you. You just have to water it and prune it for yourself. But we want the easy way out, and it's easier to go and walk up to somebody and say, give me money. I can give you maybe a week's salary, and you're going to come back the next day and say, give me more money. The problem is you don't know how to cultivate your life. You don't know how to cultivate your life. And you put it on other people to be responsible for your life. Yeah, you can see my little doggy. Yeah, see, he walks with a little limp. And another time he walks okay. Yeah, if you can pray for my little Lavy boy. Yeah, he'll be 13 in January, this coming January. Yeah. So that what was that? Okay, it's going on November, so November, December, January. In 2 more months, a little over 2 more months, he'll be 13 years old. Yeah, please pray for him. Yeah, he's it is what it is. His cognition, his audio, his visual, his walking, his neurological system is greatly compromised. It's getting more and more compromised. That's what you see there. If you can pray for him that he'll get stronger. Yeah, I love my little boy. But yeah, see, I too do these videos, and I do it for me also. See, I'm searching also. I may not be going outside and saying, give me money, you know. Um, but I ask myself, what is it I want? How to cultivate my life? How do I cultivate it? Well, one thing that I want to do, that I already started doing. Yeah, coincidence, I talking about cultivation, and we are all seeds, and you just got to water it and prune it and all that. Interesting. See, see when I do these videos, I'm also talking to myself too. I talking to myself, and sometimes at the end of the video, I come to an answer, and I'm seeing I need to start cultivating my life. What type of seed are you? Find out, what type of seed you are. You can ask yourself, hey, okay, what type of seed am I? And what does my seed, my type of seed require? What do I require? Be yourself. Be yourself. Yeah, yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you, iBoogie. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, I love my little boy. Yeah. Yeah, one minute he seems okay, but yeah, I should see how he's walking? You remember him back in America. He was perfect. Perfect. But life happened. Life happened to both of us. Yeah, life happened to both of us. But yes, thank you there, Bookie. Thank you. So yeah, when you're yeah, I'm coming to an answer here. Okay. Like these people come up to me and give me money. See, they think I have the answer. And by acquiring what they think the answer is not money. The answer is cultivating your life with what you are. What are you? You think this young man that was saying, give me money. And he had strength. He had muscles. A short guy, but man, he's strong. I wouldn't want to get in a fight with him. These people here are strong because they're laborers. They work. They're strong. They may not look it, but they are strong. hmm Yeah, they were strong people. And I'm not the answer, people. I am not the answer to those fellows. And I'm not the answer to give them money because it's not going to change the problem. They have to resolve their own problem. And the problem is all in their head. It's perception. And yes, knowledge too. Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. Yes, you need knowledge and information to get, to get something like a couple of days ago, I went to the store and I bought some plants and some soil. And I want to create a garden for myself. I mean, I have a garden here. The landlord, this property has a garden. But I want to grow my little garden. I want to grow food for me. For me, I want to learn how to cultivate in my life symbolically. Symbolically, I want to create a wealth for me. And for me, it's about producing a harvest in the form of herbs, of like I'm growing pumpkins, I'm growing a passion fruit, beans, avocado tree I'm growing. If I haven't showed it, yeah, I showed it to you before. I did show it. And I can show it again maybe later on or something like that. I'll show you again. But now, see, I want to direct my energy. Yeah, there's something else happening here. See, my little boy here, Lavender, my little dog, I was getting a lot of anxiety, people, because I'm seeing him wither away, slowly. And I was getting depressed, as I told you guys. And then I started thinking where I could escape to. And then I started thinking, um, escaping may not be, it's going to cost me money to escape. And it took me a long time to prepare to even come to Rwanda. I said, when that time comes for Lavender, maybe I don't have to physically leave the country. Maybe just visit another location for a little bit. Take a little vacation within Rwanda. I said, there are a lot of things here that I can go see. But then I also thought about something else. I said, like I thought to myself, hey, wouldn't it be something if I can take Lavender with me? Why wait for him to pass away to maybe go to this other place? That's what I was thinking. I'm thinking about doing that. I mean, I have to really weigh it out because even me just like going to like when we have a doctor's appointment for Lavender, we go to a restaurant for a little treat. So after his doctor appointment, there's a restaurant that caters for dogs, and we have lunch together there. He gets food, and I get a food for myself, and then I come back home. But it could be a challenge sometimes because he starts to bark when he's in transit sometime, and I don't want to put more stress on him. But it was something that I was thinking. I mean, I was actually thinking this. Hey, why wait for him to pass away? I can take him to that little trip and share it with him. Also, I was thinking, I said, why wait for him to pass away to create that little garden for myself? Create it now. Create it now in your life. I want to create my little space of my little garden to grow the little pumpkins. I'm growing little pumpkins. I have to get more soil. It's not the person I bought it for. I showed them the picture of the container that it's in and the plants, and they said you need more soil in it. So yes, I have to purchase more soil, and I want to make if I can't find it, I want to make it what's called a trestle. I think it's called a trestle, something like that. It's something that the vines could grow on, you know, and the squash and the pumpkins is going to need that. So I want to get that. I want to get more soil, but it's been raining. I was going to go yesterday, but it was raining all day, real heavy. Uh, it was raining too today too. Um, so if it stops and everything, I want to start preparing. I want to start getting the tools, um, because see, you know, life is what it is, and I know I'm gonna miss my little boy, but I want to like uh, have built up my foundation that when that time comes, I have my garden to tend. Sometimes it's about redirecting your energy. I know it sounds new agey, and I don't mean to sound new agey, but I mean like when you have to be able to focus on something, and when you have a creative approach, it just helps you in that time of need. I know I'm going to need a distractant and something creative to help to get me through this time for lavender. Yeah, why wait later on? Do it now. So I want to do it now for myself. Um, yeah, for me, a garden represents life and prosperity and richness, and I feel it's next to God. You know, that's how I feel, and that's how I want to work up my stresses in life right now. Um, I also yeah, I was getting upset with the videos I was watching. You know, yeah, I tell you all, I watch too many videos, and I know you're watching this video, but it was pulling me down spiritually. And I think I shared this. Yeah, I did share this with you also. I was watching this YouTuber for about maybe 4 years now. And about 2 weeks ago, you know, on your smartphone, it gives you, like with the videos, it has these three little dots. You press on it, and a menu comes up. And one of the selection is do not recommend video anymore or channel. And that's what I did. I was watching this man's video religiously every day. And I said I had enough. And I had enough because where his content is leaning to, everything was about, oh, God is coming and this is happening. Oh, like the end of the world type of thing. And there's going to be war, you know? Because he said something was going to happen in September and then something's going to happen in October. Come on. I'm getting upset. This was going on for a couple of years, and I got tired. I got tired. Yeah, these were popular people that I watch every day religiously, and so I'm shifting also. I said, I'm tired of this. What could I do now to help create a paradise life for me? Because there's supposed to be paradise, but I want to, comfort myself inside. I have to self comfort, and so for me, I want to create a garden if I can. You know, I need to do my research. I need to do my homework and getting this done. Um, yeah, I want to create something, and that's my project. That's what I want to do. I before I came to Rwanda, I said in my biography, you have to write like a letter of introduction of who you are and what do you want to accomplish here. And I said I want to grow a garden. I want to grow fruit, and I specified also watermelon. I want to get watermelon. I want to grow watermelon. Yeah, remember back in New York, I tried to grow watermelon. It was in 2017. Remember that? And I was showing you the thing. Yeah, I tried to do a garden in my apartment. Not too good. Yeah, things like watermelon need to grow outside, and it cannot grow inside. And if you do attempt it, it's going to cost you so much electricity. It's not going to do well. Some things you have to be in the right environment. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you have to create your own sense of purpose, and to try to stop, you know, pointing at others and say, give me. I'm not responsible for anybody else's happiness or need. You are the seed, and you have to cultivate your life. And I symbolically and taken that truth for myself, the truth that I am a seed, and I need all the richness is inside that tree or that seed, all the potential, all the ability to grow fruit. It's all programmed inside. You just have to nurture it and grow it and water it daily. It's a daily livelihood. You are that seed. What type of seed are you? Find out and go cultivate that seed, so you don't have to walk up to people and say, give me money, because the next day you're going to say the same damn thing. Cultivate your life. Look at what you have, and if you don't like what you have, start. Maybe you just need to sweep the floor, wash the walls, because it's a daily thing. It's a daily task. Let me look at that message that was sent to me. Okay, iBoogie, yes. iBoogie says yes. I remember all three. Miss seeing the other two. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for watching my channel even back then. Your prayers for lavender strength. Okay. I was watching that day and heard the gentleman when he asked you for money. I believe it was after you turned around from your walk to take lavender back home. Yeah. Oh, wow. You were really watching. Yeah. Yeah, that's what happened. I was walking straight, and then he said that, about money. And then Lavender, remember? Lavender started barking. And so I turned around. I don't know why that happened. Uh, you know, who knows? But went back home. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you viewers. I need you just as much as, I need you too. Your viewers. You help make my day. You are the icing on the cake. And it's not the quantity, but it's nice when you guys just say hello. just when you say hi, Spirit Journey, oh yeah, I watched the video, I saw what happened. I remember your three little dogs, or oh, I heard the guy ask for money. It shows that you're paying attention, and it's nice for people to notice and just say hello in their own way. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And the again, this channel is called Spirit Journey, and yes, I share my life's journey, its ups and downs, and we are all going through life. And if it's not one thing, it's another. But when we face with whatever what we face with, you know, um, we get little answers. And so for me, I want to try to cultivate better in my life. I need to do a little bit more pruning so I can see results. Yeah. So I hope people like that gentleman that said, give me money. I hope people like him see and get to the end of this video that your problem is not looking at me and for me to solve your problem. You need to work it out. The seed of potentiality is in you. You need to cultivate your life. You live in a house and you say you don't have food? Well, start growing food on your house. Your place is messy? Fix it up. And life will start opening up more for you. Start looking within. I need to also start looking within me and appreciate who I am. Appreciate yourself, people. And that's the conclusion of this video. Yeah. I thank you all for listening. I thank you all from all the way back in America when I was in America and you walked on with me on my journey going to the Ramble in Central Park. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this journey with me. And I keep you posted. And yeah, sometimes you just need to, you know, remove and prune some of those things out from your life. And that could be some YouTube channels. Sometimes it can be too much. And you need to go on your next step in your journey, okay? Thank you again. Peace, love, and joy to you. Thank you for your prayers for Lavender and myself. And I'll show you progress with my little garden, okay? Okay? Thank you again, guys. Peace, love, and power to you.